G'day punters, welcome back to the Rapid Fire Show. Of course, this week we're going to be highlighting the major races from Eagle Farm, Stradbroke Day, biggest day of the year. We've got a special guest this week, standing in for Jason as a party, who was a late scratching, Peter Lawrence. G'day, Peter.
How's it going, Paul? Very honoured to be invited on in such exalted company as you and John.
And of course,
my one outlet of the week is to abuse Azza for half an hour. So I'm being left out, and I'm beginning to be very nice to you just to make him even more angry. So that's my goal for the week.
And I'm off the reserve bench.
Peter, yes, indeed. And Peter's going to give us... Pete, why don't you just tell listeners a very brief introduction as to your background in racing?
Well, Paul, I've been going to the races all my life. My dad took me when I was probably about 5 or 6 years old. And I probably cut my teeth on the trots early on. I was more interested in the trots, but when I got to be a teenager, read a few books about professional punting and decided to devote my life to doing that. And was a bookie in the Gold Coast for a number of years in a time when there was a lot of legends up there, including Lloyd Merlihan and Laurie Bricknell, Terry Page. So that was a very exciting time. And then I quit doing that around 2002 and have just been punting ever since. One of those very fortunate people who's never had a job other than trying to make money at racing. So what a dream.
You've done a fine job too, and it is the dream, and that's what we all aspire to, and that's what listeners, I'm sure, want to be one day, and they all sort of have thoughts about how good it would be. And it's not a glamorous lifestyle, is it, Pete? I mean, it's a lot of hard work, as you know.
No, it's not so much it's not a glamorous lifestyle when you're just punting and you're at home, and I guess. But the bookmaking was definitely, I felt it was a bit glamorous at the time.
Indeed, it
and
was.
Exciting. Racing's exciting. That's what we're all in it for.
Indeed, it's a puzzle that just continues to evolve and continues to tease. Okay, so this week, John, we're going to start off with Eagle Farm. Rails out 4 metres. The track played quite well last week in terms of position. You could pretty much be anywhere on the track, but in terms of lanes, there was a definite advantage to be at least 3 off. It did seem to get better in the day for those that were coming wider and featuring in the finish. So I'd expect something similar this week. The rail goes out an extra couple of metres. Maybe early races might be okay. Rails and run was certainly okay last week, just that you wanted to be off the fence in the straight. So the jockeys, or the good jockeys here at this meeting, will work it out pretty quickly, I'm sure. But Eagle Farm will be a good track, no doubt, and it certainly handles the racing better than some of the other tracks that we're having to deal with at this point in time. So starting off with the Brisbane Cup over 3,200 metres, John, what's the market?
Let me just get it in order, sort by dividend. So Sweet Thomas heavily backed off an unlucky run last start, 420 through Irish Eyes, 420, $5 Irish Sequel, $6 the Fearless One, $7 Splendiferous, $9 King of Lear Grants, $26 plus the rest. Maricopa Papalino, $31, $61. I won't go any further.
Yeah, well, Splendiferous looks to probably control this and get a reasonably easy lead. Fearless One sort of presses forward too from that wider gate. Probably hasn't got a lot of options. Bauer Maurice should be up there somewhere. Pete, what do you think about this race?
Well, I thought that the weak links were Irish Sequel and Sweet Thomas. I thought that they were overbet in the market. I thought Splendiferous would be hard to beat. I'm just a little concerned that when she had that 2,800 metre run at Flemington, she was disappointing and was back to the 2,400 the other day, where she also won at Morfordville. But I thought that was probably the right form. The New Zealand horse, the Fearless One, I thought he fitted in there. And I know that King of Lear Grants has been sold recently, but it is proven at the 2 miles. So I thought they were the 3, and I was against Irish Sequel. And I also thought that Through Irish Eyes fitted in. But I thought Irish Sequel and Sweet Thomas were the 2 weak links there.
Yeah, John, what do you say?
I was pretty right. Like I completely think the race is car. I hate the race with a passion, but I could poke massive holes in just about every runner and kept coming back to sort of King and Leogrance and the Fearless one just because they were a little bit, better value and I couldn't poke as many holes in them. I agree. I couldn't take $4.20 about Sweet Thomas in any race anywhere. Irish Sequel, same. It's too big a query coming up. I would be surprised if it won either of them, but not a race I want to play in, but I thought they were the two best value in a horrible race. King of Leogrance and Fearless one, agree.
Look, I'm probably going to go against you here, Peter. I do have Through Irish Eyes on top. I do like the fact that it's trialled over the jumps in between runs, and I do think that the 3,200 metres won't present a problem for it at all. And that stable obviously should have this on song. Irish Sequel, look, I suppose that the weak link for me is that I'm not convinced that it's going to get 3,200 metres, and that's a worry. And I could probably put the Fearless one into that camp as well. I mean, it's a bit of an unknown, obviously, but I can't pot Irish Sequel. I don't think that there's any value in the price right now. And I would say the same for Fearless one. And in terms of Sweet Thomas, well, look, if it ran up to its very best form over 2 miles, which I've got at Rose Hill, well, then, it would obviously go close to winning this. And it did look the unlucky runner last start, but gee, you're taking 4-1 or something. It's way under the odds for it. And King Leogrance, who I've had some time for as well, I definitely see it fitting in there and as a definite chance. And I have to be against Splendiferous at the price. So for me, it's Through Irish Eyes on top. In terms of the value right now, I could say that that's the only one I could back at current prices. But all of those others deserve a mention. Okay, let's move on to the PJ O'Shea over 2,200 metres at weight for age. John, what's the market?
Here we go. Wetter, a bit shorter this week, $3.20, $5.50 Maximal, $8 Hopeful, $12 Great House, $12 The Chosen One, $13 Numerian, $17 Le Don de V, $17 Polygrey, $26 Coventina Bay, $26 Colding, $31 Yonkers, $34 Estefani, $41 Ballistic Boy, $41 Korea Dearest, big price, $41 Cucaracha, $67. Not the London Banker. I used to love that horse, the London Banker, just London Banker.
Yeah, in terms of map, it does look a little bit willing early. These positions are up for grabs. You've got Polygrey, Numerian, Hopeful, all potential leaders here in this race. Le Don de V will slow up there somewhere. Yonkers might try and get in there from its alley. Look, I might go first here. Look, Hueta was definitely the form horse coming into this race and looks the obvious, but as you say, it is pretty short this week and I couldn't possibly get it anywhere near the market price. In fact, I've got it and Maximal, both queries in terms of map. Can't see value in any of those. I do have Hueta favourite, but a lot longer than the current quote. I thought Hopeful fitted in this race. It's only had a couple of runs here in Australia, and to me, it does look like it will be suited up to that 2,200 metres, no doubt. And I even thought that the horses coming out of the Hueta race last start, Great House and The Chosen One, who sort of both made their runs together, they look to me like they could feature in this race. And probably of those two, Great House would be the better value, I would think. I know they're coming off big SPs, but I'm prepared to overlook that here. So for me, whilst I've got Hueta favourite, I would be leaning towards Hopeful and the value Great House, and I'll be betting against Maximal here. Pete?
Look, I thought it was a very skinny race. I'm against you two. I'm shocked that Hueta was 320. I thought he was just clear cut, stood out here, improving horse on the up, just improves every time he goes to the races. Won the Brisbane Cup. I think that's the right form. I think Maximal is just way too short. It's really only had that one good run in Australia that's anywhere near that last start. He was a big price. I couldn't possibly have Hopeful coming off that much weaker race in Sydney on the heavy track. And I was thought the other way. I thought Hueta would start closer to 250 than 320.
Okay, interesting. John?
Yeah, I think I was misunderstood there. It was a lot shorter than $15 last start we got when it won was what I meant. I wasn't meaning it was too short here. I'm exactly the same. I think it's the only horse with huge upside. I love the horse. I think it'll win much better races than this. Just needs sort of even luck. It looks like there's enough tempo to run on in the race, and I agree. I'm not unloading at $3.20, but it's the only horse I could back with confidence. I thought the Chosen One was a bit of value at $17 coming out of the same race. It's a bit unlucky. He's impossible to catch, but because his odds, thought he was okay in comparison to horses like Maximal. And Hopeful is just the horse that's scary because it's only had 2 runs here, both on significantly wet tracks and run really well. Both, really well first up. The other day, it tried really hard and got the job done. Who knows for me what it's going to do on a dry track out here. So I'm scared of it. I don't really want to find it, but I'm very scared of it because it just tries so hard more than anything, and we don't know what it's going to do.
Yeah, when I mentioned that, of course, I don't think Hopeful's any price. I think around about the sort of 7-1 mark is the right mark for it. With regards to Hueta, I mean, I suppose the thing that's holding me back here is map. Where do you think it's going to get to on the map? That's what I'm saying, and I just think that's the difference this week for it. I can't see it starting the price that Peter suggested, but Pete, you're a good judge, so we'll see.
So that's Paul's lay of the day, Hueta. Mark
No,
that
it's not a lay of the day. No, absolutely not the lay of the day. I just can't see it. I mean, 2-1 is short, and I just can't see it 6-4. But hey,
this is the moment when Azza would be going, so Paul, what have you got this priced? And Paul would go purple, and may or may not tell us.
No. Look, it's definitely a strong chance in the race. I'm not potting it. I'm just saying I don't want to be taking those prices. If it got out, to sort of 3-1, 7-2, I'd be backing it for sure. But at 2-1, no. Okay, so let's get into the JJ Atkins this week over the mile for 2-year-olds. John, what's the main market here?
Well, okay, so Sharp and Smart, $4, $4.60. She's a belter, $5 political debate. I heard a few whispers this morning. It's a chance of coming out. Obviously, won't take that into account because I haven't really heard why. I just heard a couple of whispers that may come out. Owen County, $10, $12 Brereton, 13 Lethal Thoughts, 16 Basque, 17 Brosnan, 17 Twin Stars, $34 plus the rest. Green Shadows Ringmaster, the closest to under $61.
Okay, Pete, why don't you start us off here?
Okay, look, I thought this was a great betting race. Political debate been found to be lame today, so he's got to be vetted again in the morning. I think in the last 6 or 9 months, there must be more than a half a dozen fancied horses in big races that were lame the day before and were cleared on race morning. None of them have featured at all. I think it's just a terrible setup for him. I think he missed the run in the sires. He was weak late the other day. I just thought he had so many negatives for him. And I thought it was just a race in 2 between the filly, She's a Belter, who was so strong late the other day in the sires. And that's often the right form going into this. And also Graham Rogerson's horse. I'm just going to have to quickly look at its name.
Sharp and Smart,
who was 42 days off the other day on the 7-day backup. I think he's got this is the program they wanted for him, whereas political debate, I think, was forced into starting last week. So I thought one of those 2 would win. The fillies have had the advantage all year in the 2-year-old races, but I just thought he was so strong the other day. I think it's a good race to bet in and just to zero in on those 2 horses. I can't really see any other chances.
Yeah. Okay. And John, what are you saying?
Yeah, I'm close. I'm really in the Sharp and Smart corner. Just think Bowman's riding incredibly well and just suits these horses so well that better draw should see him settle pretty close. I don't see a lot of speed. Most of it's drawn wide, so I think that gate will probably allow him to settle up in the first, 6 or 7, and when he gets to the outside, it's going to take a very good horse to run past him. I think if She's a Belter's behind him, it's going to struggle to run this horse down. Like any horse that can come off a fast tempo and win second start in a race over a mile in New Zealand is going to have no problem with the mile here. And I thought Basque was the value. I was happy to back it to beat political debate if they went head-to-head in a maiden there last week, and probably would have got a price. And I think it'll just sit right behind the leaders here. And I like it set up. It got beaten by a horse in Sydney called Burgunder, who I think is a very good horse. And I'm just treating the win the other day, even though it was like slow time, as just a complete barrier trial. It just sat outside him. And and dashed up 400 metres and didn't do a lot. I think it's just got a really nice setup to sit behind leader here, and it'll run really well. I've got Sharp and Smart for me.
Okay, for me, Sharp and Smart's the better today in Brisbane. I can't see the other beating it. Political debate, even if it gets a start. I think She's a Belter is definite chance, but under the odds for me significantly. And I thought if there's one at double figure odds that could sneak a place here and improve, it might be Owen County. But overall, Sharp and Smart from the gate will just position closer and get a much better run. And for mine, probably should have almost won that race last start for sure. So it's the better today for me in Brisbane.
I thought it did.
Or would you have liked to have seen the blinkers on Sharp and Smart?
No.
Okay.
No.
I wouldn't have minded it once it drew gate 5.
Yeah.
And sorry, John, what did you say? It won last start?
No, I thought it did win the other day. I thought it did win. Yeah,
I thought it won when it crossed the line too, but no, it didn't. Okay, on to the major of the day, the Stradbroke Group 1 handicap over 7 furlongs. What do you say?
11.11 is favourite in a Stradbroke. I never would thought I would say those words. $7, $5.50, 11.11, $7.50 Ayrton, $11 Alligator Blood, 11 Apache Chase, 12 Isotope, 13 Soxagon, 15 Private Eye, 16 Rothfire, 17 Law of Indices. It must have been well backed. 18 Valana, 21 Startontes, 31 Brooklyn Hustle, 31 Frankie Pino. I'm going to mention I Am Superman because I don't mind it. $31, $34 plus the rest, but they're not out of it. Buffalo River, Emerald Kingdom, 61 plus from Flying Crazy On.
John, do you want to go first here?
Yeah, I don't mind. I think they'll go very quick here, and I don't really love the race, but I love these sorts of races because you're usually assured pressure. I think most of the on-pace runners are pretty one-pace sort of types that'll be vulnerable. So I just went looking for horses with mile form. Alligator Blood's setup's not perfect. Certainly second up off a really tough run the other day, but in the right stable to cope with that. And if it has any luck, I think it'll run well. And I thought Private Eye, even though it's just probably not that well weighted, it's just such a weak Stradbroke. I'm happy to be with it at $15. Think it'll run really well. I thought the run the other day for it was really a good blowout. It'll be strong. Just needs luck from that inside draw, no doubt. But I think that suits it. If it gets the luck, it can just be powering late. And I Am Superman at 40 or 50 to 1, whatever it'll be. I just thought was a blowout off a freshen up. Its form's not been ideal lately, but I think it goes better this way. And I just think it, fresh with a fast tempo can suit it at big odds.
Pete.
Such a deep race, and it just on the same week that the VRC changed the Cantala to be a weight for age race on the last day of the carnival there, it just defies logic that they can't see what happens when you have a Doncaster or a Stradbroke or any of these great handicaps, what terrific races they are and great betting races. It's just mind-boggling to me that they would have made that race a weight for age race. But anyway, I agree. I think there'll be much more pace here. That lead-up race that Apache Chase won, for some reason they rode Rothfire off the pace. They went quite slowly in the early stages. I think it'll be a totally different setup here. I thought 11.11 was just preposterous odds. I'd have him double figures for sure. Couldn't possibly have him favourite for the race. I think for me, everything revolves around Ayrton. I know it's a extremely unusual preparation. They were going to race him in the Brisbane Cup. They've brought him back to this, but I think he's clearly the best horse, but he's got the wide alley, but he's gone from $4 odd out to $7.50 now. So I think Ayrton's worth a speculator. I do think that Rothfire, again, he's drawn poorly. It's a query how fast they're going to go up front. Tommy Berry's riding him, who's not really renowned for let's go on with it here. But I do think that Rothfire has a chance of coming back to somewhere near his best. And if he did, he'd win it. And outside of that, I thought it was an absolute lottery. But I'm against 11.11, that's for sure.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there. I've got 11.11 double figures. and would definitely be opposing it at 5-1 if it was that on the exchange tomorrow. In terms of Ayrton, look, I've got Ayrton in there as a definite chance. I suppose the trick is how do you assess this horse, Pete, and that's the thing I was looking at.
Yeah.
If I assessed it on its Caulfield run, which is actually the best for me, for sure. But that run last start, obviously you got to forget it was lame. But the market's been in love with this horse from day one. The 5 weeks off, it's had the trial in between. It's one that I'm worried about. I couldn't take 5-1 it, so I have to sort of go around it. Look, I thought horses like Valana, Soxagon were definite chances at odds in this field, and I suppose I'm saying Valana because of the 3-year-old form, and this horse I think is better suited on the drier surfaces, and obviously it got away with that race last time, and I think it can improve off that. Rothfire, definitely, if it was close to its best, it would be right in there. And even Scalapini, I just wonder, it probably won't get a run, obviously. But if it was Alligator Blood, if you took it on its last start and forgot the SP and forgot all the previous issues, you'd have to say it was in the race as well. But they're going to go quick here with Buffalo River and Apache Chase and even Rothfire from out wide and Emerald Kingdom on the inside there. So it's going to be game on. And so Apache Chase is definitely not going to get the luxury of what it had last time out. And I suppose the other horse I wanted to mention was Soxagon, who I've got a bit of time for as well. So look, it obviously not an easy race, and hence these handicaps aren't. But I would say right now, if I had to sort of say what is the better value, I'd have to say Soxagon and Valana, and I'm definitely against 11-11, and I think we'll go with that.
It'd be a great story if Alligator Blood won it, wouldn't it?
Oh, it would. I mean, if I close my eyes and said I'm just going to assess on its last start, then I'd have to have something on it for sure. But I'm prepared to take a little bit of a risk with it. But yeah, it would be a great story if it won.
Yeah,
there's a good chance he comes across with Rothfire too, and just sort of he could easily slot in behind him and get a good run. But we've probably talked about 9 or 10 horses there that we've given good chances to, and this is that's exactly what your point was, Peter. And you think the All-Star Mile is like a monster miss for me, making it weight for age. It just doesn't make any sense at all. And to add another one,
I know. The thing with the All-Star Mile is they have that voting, so they get these horses in that shouldn't even be in the race, and then they give them the same weight as Zaki. It's just
crazy.
mad.
So it's either the people's race or it's a weight for age race. You can't. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. What is it? But anyway, that's racing at the moment.
Yeah. Did you give just before that, Pete? Did you give Soxagon any hope at all?
Yeah, definitely. I've definitely got him in there. I've definitely got Alligator Blood in there. It's such an open race.
And how did you see the 3-year-old Valana? Did you sort of were you thinking along the lines that it was going to improve off that run?
I thought yes. I'm sure it'll improve, but I couldn't get it into being interested in having something on it.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, on to the Dane Ripper over 1,300 metres for fillies and mares, set weights and penalties. What have we got, John?
We forgot to mention it. We got too excited about these races.
We did get too excited. Let's talk about our sponsor, of course, Top Sport. If you don't have an account, punters, you're mad. You need one. Tristan obviously offers everyone a fair bet. The minimums that they have on offer, or the minimums that are legislated, do apply from the time they go up. And in the bigger races, they give you a fair bet as well. So those limits we're talking about there obviously relate to New South Wales, because predominantly we cover New South Wales racing. But I'm sure on the Queensland races, you can still get set for a decent bet. So if you haven't got an account, make sure you get one.
Oh, you're saying that they've been 193 in the state of origin, both sides, to win 50,000. I can't think of anyone else who's doing that to everybody that rings up. So yeah, they're market leaders for mine. The lucky last, Dane Ripper, $3 Najmati, $9 Written Beauty, $10 Enchanted Heart, $10 Let's Be Glam, $11 Maria Mia, $11 Salatine, $15 Bring the Ransom, $16 Vangelic, $17 Tycoon Evie, $18 Volpine, $21 April Rain, Palaisapan, $26, $34 Eloquently, and $71 plus the rest.
Yeah, look, I might go first here. I mean, outside the favourite, this has got a long tail, this race. I couldn't take the price that it's currently on offer, but I do think it's the clear pick in a race. Naj Marty we're talking about. Look, you couldn't have asked it to do more than what it's done this prep, but what is it, 2-to-1-ish? It's a bit short for me. I suppose outside that, looking at the other main chances, I could throw a blanket or a length over half a dozen of these, if not more. But Let's Be Glam, Enchanted Heart, even to a lesser extent, Volpine and Tycoon Evie and Bring the Ransom and number 12, what's that? Palais, what's it? Palais Span, is it?
Yeah, no idea.
Look, I just couldn't. I wouldn't be surprised if one of those sort of featured, and even Written Beauty. So, it's a really hard race for me. I would ideally like to back the favourite, but certainly not at those prices. Pete.
I agree with everything you've said. I backed Naj Marty first up at Caulfield in just a normal 3-year-old fillies handicap. I think it was $11 into $7.50 or something. Brett Preble rode it. It was a terrific win. It was a great win last start, but again, I can't get it anywhere. I've got it clearly on top. I can't get it anywhere near that short. It was a nothing race for me. I agree.
Yeah.
All the horses you mentioned, Paul, I could entertain all of those running well, but there was nothing that stood out as any sort of value for me. It's a pass race for me.
Yeah, it's one of those races, isn't it, Pete? It's such a trap for punters is that they go, well, I can't really separate. I don't want to back anything to beat it. So I'll back the favourite. And, you're taking short odds at the moment. So
absolutely.
And it may well not get any better. John, what do you say?
Yeah, pretty similar. Like, obviously, if it reproduces anything like that, it's going to run well. The extra 100 metres doesn't look an issue. Speed should be good. Like, it looks like there's some pretty horses that will want to get right forward, so it should get enough speed on. But I was the same, and I thought the two value runs. I'm in love with this horse, Let's Be Glam. I thought it was a pretty average ride last start, and I think that's pretty good form for this race in particular. And he can run well. The extra little trip is a query for it, but the soft draw hopefully accounts for that a touch. And the other horse that I thought was value is Bring the Ransom. If you tie its form in sort of through Wonderbar, which was that same form line as Let's Be Glam last start, $16 about it from a soft draw National Willer. I can see plenty of positives about Bring the Ransom too, just at the odds. But Naj Marty's certainly the one to beat. I'm with you guys. I can't take $3 if I'm betting in the race or quaddies or whatever. They're the three horses I'm throwing in, and I probably will have something on Let's Be Glam and Bring the Ransom small, just because I think they're going to get really nice runs in transit and can run well if the favourite finds any trouble.
Were you worried? Hang on, I'm just going to poke in there. Were you worried, John, that its last two starts, Let's Be Glam has loomed up to really be in the finish, but has weakened late?
I was worried about it. Oh, no, I wasn't worried. I thought its first up run was huge. I know a lot of people think down the outside kind of there was not too bad, but I just thought they went quick. It was close to the tempo there. I just want to make sure I'm not saying anything silly. And I really liked that run. Last start, I just thought it was a bit too negative at the start. I think it's a horse that sort of needs to roll into race. I don't think it's a horse that's got to turn a foot. It needs to be sort of chiming in, and I don't expect it to finish. I'm with that. That was why my little query certainly was that the extra 100 metres, if anything. If it was coming back to 1,100 and into a similar race, I'd be really keen from that sort of draw. So I think it could sort of loom 4 wide and put a length on them and hold on, whereas 1,300, it's going to need a really good ride. And I don't know what the betting's going to do there either. It's going to last race of the day, some weird things happen, and anything could happen with this national. Like, I could see it started even money or something crazy just because it's that stable and the sort of horse it is and where it's positioned on the card. So it's it'll be interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, thanks very much for your attendance, Pete and John. Of course, we'll see you on Monday, punters, for the review of the meeting, and we'll obviously have some dissection to do there, and hopefully some horses to follow out of it. But we are sort of at that tail end of the carnival too, so don't know what we're going to get there. In terms of most likely winners, Pete, or best bets, what are you thinking on the program as far as the races we've covered?
I think the two best bets for me are Huetor in the Q22 and playing both those two-year-olds in the Atkins. She's a belter, and Sharp and Smart, named after you, Paul.
Oh, very nice of you to say that, Pete. John?
Same 2 races for me. I'm probably going to have something on Weta, even if not played in sort of multis, things like that. That's my sort of play, and have something small on the chosen one. And I'm going to definitely be making Sharp and Smart a good result, and Basque in the same race. I think they're the clear 2 most decipherable races on the card for me. Before you go, I just want to thank Pete. I do follow you on Twitter. Never, first time I've ever got any sort of personal dealings. It's great, but love that you've got an opinion, love your passion. So everyone gets on there and get a bit hot sometimes and puts in controversial things, but it's good, like it promotes people talking about things. And that's what a lot of people just sit there and either snipe people don't have an opinion or, just don't. So keep it up. I love it.
Thanks, John.
And for me, it's Sharp and Smart clearly is my best. In that same race, I'm definitely going to make sure I don't lose on Owen County. I can't come into She's a Builder at the current price. So it's Sharp and Smart clearly, save Owen County. And in the Stradbroke, if 11-11 is sort of 9-2, 5-1, I'll be laying it.
Okay, thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Very enjoyable.